I had a baby the week before Easter. The plan has been to go to my in-laws. Info. We live 30 minutes away from them. They have a large family, but a small house with only 2 bathrooms. My father-in-law found 5 feral kittens, brought them home, and put them in the second bathroom room. The kittens were not friendly, covered in fleas, and the room was covered in urine and feces. But we were still expected to use that bathroom, specifically the kids. I was in a room nursing when my 4-year-old daughter Ella came in crying because my mother-in-law forced her to go into the cat bathroom, and it stunk so bad she ran out to find me. I put my newborn in my wearer and escorted her to the normal bathroom. My mother-in-law saw me waiting by the door and told me, "Take Ella to the other bathroom. This one is for adults." I responded that I wouldn't, and because of my newborn, my kids were not allowed to use the cat bathroom. I did not want my older ones getting litter, fecal matter, or fleas on their clothes and bringing it around the newborn. She tried to argue that wouldn't happen, but I insisted my kids were not allowed to use that bathroom. When my husband got back from the park with my 2 other kids and cousins/aunts/uncles, I told him about not letting our kids in the cat bathroom. He took over bathroom duties and made sure our kids stayed out of that room, despite pressure and complaints of my kids using the adult bathroom. When it came time to eat, I was in the middle of nursing. My husband offered to make me a plate, but I told him to feed himself quickly so I could give him the baby while I made my plate and ate. About 30 minutes later, I hand off the baby and go to make my plate to find hardly anything left. Some ham fat and the deviled eggs veggie tray I brought. I just got my baby, went to a room, then called my mom in tears. My husband came to find me a few minutes later and asked what was wrong. I told him there wasn't any food for me. He was confused, stated there was tons, and went to the kitchen. He came back saying his mom thought I had eaten and had packed everything up and he could warm me up a plate. I couldn't help but feel like my mother-in-law did this on purpose because of the bathroom situation. Who packs up dinner that fast? I told him not to bother, that I wanted to go home. He didn't understand why I was upset, wouldn't let him make me a plate. I didn't tell him my theory, which is where I might be the AH. We fought a bit. Don't be too hard on him. We were both sleep-deprived and high emotions because of the newborn, then went home. My favorite sister-in-law has told me that my mother-in-law is bad-mouthing me about not following the bathroom rules, not eating her food, and making my family leave early. She is calling me stuck up and a drama queen. I felt justified in my choices, but maybe I'm wrong. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. What mother-in-law doesn't ensure that the mother of her newest grandchild has something to eat at an event 1 week after delivery? I know, the same one who tries to make small children use a totally disgusting bathroom. You were quite justified in your choices. Mother-in-law needs a long time out, and hubby needs to protect you just as much as he protects his children. He needs to speak to mother-in-law about how inappropriately she's behaving. Mom, I understand that you're saying negative things about my wife. That had better not be the case, or you won't be seeing any of us for quite some time. And I want you to apologize to my wife for your bad behavior toward her at Easter. Yelling at her for letting the children use the only clean bathroom in the house and packing up the food before she had a chance to eat were really unkind things to do, especially to a brand new mother. How could you do that to my wife? Comment 2. Not the jerk, although I'm not sure that mother-in-law packing the food is evidence enough that she was trying to be shitty to you. It's possible, but that is the kind of thing I wouldn't recommend jumping to conclusions on all the time if you want a drama-free life. Everything else in your post indicates that she is difficult at best. If my mom acted like this to my wife, I would not tolerate it. Who the EF has an adults-only bathroom anyway? That's ridiculous by itself and downright stupid when you consider the cat mess. Not the idiot, but don't go trying to invent problems. It will not serve any of you well. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for more of the saga. So a lot has happened since my last post. After the Easter fiasco, things with my mother-in-law, let's call her Emil, went from bad to worse. I thought the bathroom ordeal was the peak of our issues, but boy was I wrong. A few days after Easter, my husband and I received an invitation to mother-in-law's birthday party. It was going to be a big event, and despite everything, we decided to go. I thought it might be a chance to smooth things over. But as soon as we walked in, I could feel the tension. Mother-in-law greeted everyone warmly, but when it came to me, It was as if I was invisible. The party was in full swing when suddenly the power went out. Candles were lit and the party continued with a more intimate atmosphere. That's when mother-in-law decided to play a game of truth or dare. It was all fun and games until it was her turn, and she chose truth. Someone asked her what her biggest regret was, and she said, "Letting my son marry that woman," pointing right at me. The room went silent. My heart sank, and I felt my husband's hand tighten around mine. I wanted to leave, but my husband insisted we stay. He thought leaving would prove her point. So we stayed, and I put on a brave face. But inside, I was seething. A week later, my husband's family planned a reunion. Mother-in-law had organized it at a local park, and everyone was going to be there. I had my reservations, but my husband convinced me it was important for the kids to see their extended family. We arrived, and things were surprisingly pleasant until lunchtime. Mother-in-law had prepared a picnic, and there was a special dish she made that everyone loved. But when I went to get some, it was all gone. I overheard mother-in-law telling someone she made sure to serve everyone but me because some people might be on a diet. The comment cut deep, but I kept my cool. Then the moment that could make or break everything happened. My husband's grandmother, who is the sweetest lady and has always been kind to me, pulled me aside. She handed me an envelope and whispered, "I know what's been going on, and I'm sorry." Inside the envelope was a check for a substantial amount of money. She told me it was for us to use as we saw fit, but suggested it might be time to stand up to mother-in-law. I was torn. This money could be a game changer for us, but accepting it felt like I was betraying my husband's trust. I decided to tell him about it, and to my surprise, he was supportive. He said it was time we took control of our situation. Armed with this new sense of empowerment, we decided to host our own family event without mother-in-law in charge. We invited everyone to our place for a casual get-together. I was nervous, but as people arrived, they were genuinely happy to see us. The atmosphere was relaxed, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was part of the family. Mother-in-law arrived late and was clearly not pleased with the change in dynamics. She tried to take over, but this time I stood my ground. I politely but firmly told her that we had everything under control. The family saw this exchange, and I could tell they were surprised but also impressed. The event was a success, and as people were leaving, many of them thanked us for a wonderful time. They said it was nice to have a gathering without any drama. It was a subtle dig at mother-in-law, but it felt like a victory for me. The aftermath was both satisfying and challenging. Mother-in-law was furious that she had been upstaged, and she started a smear campaign against me. But this time, the family didn't buy it. They had seen with their own eyes that I was capable of hosting a great event, and that I wasn't the villain mother-in-law made me out to be. My husband and I had a long talk about everything that had happened. We agreed that while we couldn't cut mother-in-law out of our lives completely, we would set boundaries. We also decided to use the money from his grandmother to start a college fund for our kids. It's been pretty hard on us, but I feel like we're finally in a place where we can handle whatever mother-in-law throws our way. And I have to admit, proving her wrong felt pretty good. Thanks for reading. My sister stole from our disabled mother and crashed her car. But I caught her red-handed and watched her get arrested. I, 31-year-old female, have a sister, 36-year-old female. I would like to clarify that I stand by my decision. However, I would like to get some feedback to see if I am maybe not looking at this correctly and letting my own feelings cloud my judgment. Backstory. Our mother lives on disability and is on a fixed income. Despite this, my sister is constantly needing to borrow money. When my mother got to a point that she needed more care, I moved in with her to assist with daily needs. As part of this, I was also added to her bank account so that I could do anything in person that needed to be done. Fast forward to a month ago, my mother's health took a turn for the worst, and she ended up in the hospital with water on her brain and a failing liver and kidney. After spending 2 full days at the hospital, I went home to shower, change, and write some checks to send out for upcoming bills. Our rental office is right down the street from both our house and the hospital. I dropped off the rent check in person on my way back. I spent another 3 days and nights in the hospital. My mother is in a chemically induced coma in order to allow her body to heal. Day 5, I get a call from my mother's landlord stating the rent check had bounced. Knowing we have more than enough money in the account to cover it, I log into our bank app to discover that there are several $100s in missing funds. Further investigation shows several checks written out to my sister that have been signed by my mother, all dated after her admission to the hospital. My sister has not shown up to the hospital at all to check on mother. After waiting to speak with my mother's doctor, I go to the bank and cancel every single check that was printed from my mother's account so that no future checks can be cashed. I then write checks from my personal account to cover all of the bills needed for the month and resend them. I call my sister, and predictably she does not answer. I head back to the hospital, deciding that I can deal with her at a later date and that my mother is currently my priority. Day 6. My sister arrives at the hospital, drunk, and starts yelling at me saying that I had no right to cancel our mother's checks for her account. The bank knows us both well and told my sister what I had done, not knowing that she was the culprit of why it was done. The nurses come into the room to see what is happening. I calmly look at one of the nurses and ask for her to please get security to escort her out of the hospital. As they had no clue who she was and she was causing a scene, they immediately obliged. After she left, I tell the nurse to let the desk know that she is not to be allowed back in under any circumstances. After 10 days in the hospital, I am finally able to take my mother home. I am still receiving messages from family and friends saying that I was in the wrong. Even my mother is upset with me, as my sister is now not allowing her to see my nieces and nephews. Am I the idiot now? For a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Your sister was stealing from your mom. Your family and friends only know your sister's side of the story. It's really too bad she uses her kids as leverage to get her way and guilt your mom into giving her money. It sounds like your mom might need protection from your sister taking advantage of her. Anyone else in your family who can help you with this? Good luck, OP. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your felon sister should be grateful that you used your own money to fix the mess rather than involving law enforcement. This allowed her to keep the freedom that she doesn't deserve. Your felon sister better not do anything that could make you change your mind. Now, for the update, thank you for sharing your situation. So after bringing mom home from the hospital, things just spiraled. I thought I had a handle on it, but I guess I was wrong. The day after we got home, I found out my sister had convinced our cousin to lend her money, using mom's health as a sob story. And guess who they expect to pay it back? Me, because I'm the responsible one. Then 2 days later, I get a call from the bank. They're questioning a loan application submitted in mom's name. I'm floored. I rush over there and it turns out my sister had forged mom's signature. The bank caught it because I had flagged the account after the check incident. I had to sit there explaining to the bank manager that no, my mother couldn't have applied for a loan. She's barely out of a coma. I thought that was the end of it, but no. The next day I get a knock on the door. It's the police. They're asking about a car accident involving a car registered in mom's name. My sister had taken mom's car, crashed it, and fled the scene. Now, not only is the car totaled, but there's also legal trouble brewing. I'm trying to keep it together for mom's sake, but it's hard. She's still weak, and now she's stressed because of the car and the loan. She doesn't need this. I'm trying to sort out the mess with the insurance and the police, but it's like every time I fix one thing, my sister breaks another. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. My sister shows up at the house demanding money for expenses she's incurred. She's got this story about how she's the victim in all this, how I'm trying to control mom's finances and keep her away from her kids. It's all lies, but she's got this way of twisting things. I tell her to leave, but she won't go. It turns into a shouting match on the front lawn, neighbors watching. It's humiliating. I'm at my wit's end. I've been walked all over, and I'm just trying to do what's best for mom. But it's like I'm the only one who sees my sister for who she really is. I'm tired of cleaning up her messes, tired of being the bad guy. I'm just so tired. Thank you for reading. My husband wants his meddling mom to help with the new baby. But when she starts spreading lies, I make sure she learns her lesson and ends up apologizing to the entire neighborhood. After our daughter is born in 2 months, I want my mom to stay with us for a few days to a week to help me recover and help out with our little one. My mother is amazing, has always been there for me, and wants to stay because she lives 2 hours away and commuting isn't an option. She'll give me space if I need it and help cook and clean. My husband wants his mom to stay for 3 to 4 days after that, but I can almost guarantee that she will be another child to babysit. She is always telling me what to do, and even though she abandoned all 5 of her kids, including my husband when they were little and signed over her rights, I am fairly certain she's going to try to push her opinions on me of what I'm doing wrong. My sleep-deprived self is going to lose it on her and strain our somewhat tenuous relationship, possibly damaging it permanently. I highly doubt she will cook or clean, so it will be another person for me to cook for, clean up after, and take care of while my husband is at work. He's saying that we don't know how much longer she'll be around, which I don't think is a fair statement. His mother is 54 with little health issues, and my mom is 56 and just beat stage 4 cancer with a prognosis of 6 months. He also says that he wants this to be her first grandchild she has a relationship with. She has 4 other grandchildren, and she has never met them or tried to be in their lives. She says she wants to do better and be different. But after her multiple times, including at my wedding, making everything about her and inconveniencing everyone for her needs, I am skeptical that this would be any different, especially because my husband's birthday was last week and she didn't even call him. She said her phone was acting up. I told my husband it's not my fault that she doesn't drive and that we have to drive her everywhere, and that shouldn't make it so that she has to stay for days instead of visiting during the day. She only lives 30 minutes away. I also told him that if he wants her there to help him, that's perfectly fine. But he shouldn't bring her with the expectation that I will be with her 8 to 10 hours a day without him. If he wants her support and wants to spend time with her, that's up to him. Just like I do not expect him to spend 8 hours a day with my mom when she is staying. The point is for me and her to bond. If he wants her to come after the first few weeks, once we have a routine, that would be fine. But during the first few weeks, she's going to be too overbearing. He's saying he can never tell his mom that my mom stayed the first week because it would hurt her feelings. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. She absolutely does not need to stay with you. Being 30 minutes away, your husband can drive over and pick her up for a one-day trial. Make a list of things that you would like her to help with, preferably things that your mother helped with, and tell your husband it's his responsibility to ask her to help him with those things so you and he can get some rest and spend time with the baby during her one-day visit. You don't have to treat her like the housekeeper, but maybe making a meal or doing a load of laundry. If your husband invites any visitors, including his mother, who expect to be entertained, serve meals or snacks, then that's his responsibility. You can simply remove yourself and the baby to the bedroom for a nap. Comment 2. Tell him you agree. If he takes the time off during her visit, he takes care of her, feeds her, and cleans up after her. During this time, you will be recovering from giving birth. Remind him that your mom is visiting to help, not create work for you to do. You will not have the energy to entertain and take care of his mom, who is more than capable of taking care of herself. This will be the only way that you agree. He will say, "Yeah, but your mom will be here." Remind him that she will be there to help you recover. She will be cooking, cleaning, helping you with recovery from vaginal or C-section birth. His mother will not do these things, nor do you want her to see your female genitalia or anything else. Now for the update, thank you for sticking around for more of my life's chaos. So the tension with my husband over our mom's visits after our baby arrives just blew up. His mom, out of nowhere, decided to show up at our place last Tuesday. She came with bags like she was moving in, not even asking if it was okay. My husband was at work and I was home alone. She just barged in, saying she wanted to nest and get things ready for the baby. I was stunned. I mean, she never lifted a finger for her own kids, and now she's playing super grandma? Meanwhile, my mom called to check in, like she does every few days. She's been my rock, always just a call away. She's been through so much, and yet she's always there for me. When I told her about the surprise visit, she was worried but said she'd support whatever I decided. Back to my mother-in-law, she started rearranging the nursery, criticizing the way I'd set it up. She even had the nerve to throw out some of the baby clothes my mom had bought because she thought they were tacky. I was fuming but too shocked to confront her right then. The next day, my husband came home to find his mom had taken over our kitchen, cooking some elaborate meal that I didn't ask for. He was happy at first, But then I saw his face drop when he saw the nursery. He tried to talk to her, but she just brushed him off, saying she knew best. It got worse. She started telling our neighbors that she was moving in to help with the baby. They were all confused, knowing my mom was the one who'd be helping. It was embarrassing having to explain the situation over and over. Last Friday, things came to a head. My husband and I sat down with her, trying to set some boundaries. She lost it, accusing us of being ungrateful and saying she had every right to be there for her grandchild. My husband, bless him, tried to be diplomatic, but she wouldn't have it. She stormed out, saying she'd never come back. The aftermath was rough. My husband was torn up, feeling like he'd failed everyone. I felt guilty for causing a rift, but also relieved that she was gone. We spent the weekend in silence, each lost in our thoughts. Then on Monday, my husband got a call from his sister. Their mom had spun a tale of how we'd kicked her out and denied her the chance to be with her grandchild. His sister was furious with us, not even letting us explain. It was like a bad dream watching his family turn against us based on lies. But here's the thing, my husband finally saw the truth about his mom. He realized she hadn't changed, that she was still the person who'd abandoned them as kids. It was a painful revelation, but it brought us closer together. We agreed that my mom would come as planned, and we'd figure out the rest later. Yesterday, my husband apologized to our neighbors, clearing up the confusion. They were understanding, thankfully. We're just trying to move past this and focus on our baby's arrival. So that's the update. It's been pretty hard on us, but I'm hopeful we'll find some peace soon. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.